Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Jay back at it again, and today we got Don't Be Her Option, Why You Get Left Unread by Psychax. And without further ado, let's get right into this video.
I'm Dr. Orion Terra.
What's good, Dr. Orion? It's your boy Jay.
And this is Psychax, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is Don't Be Her Option. We don't want to be a woman's option, gentlemen, because options get left unread.
You want to be the option, the choice.
Option is a man who is a woman's plan B. According to surveys, the majority of women in relationships, even married ones, have a backup partner in case their current relationships don't work out. And in most cases, this is a man they already know and have developed some sort of relationship with, whether it's an old flame or a friend on the periphery with whom they haven't yet initiated a sexual relationship. Almost by definition, these options aren't as attractive as their primary partners. After all, who chooses a less attractive option over a more attractive one they can get, all other things being equal. And since most men aren't very attractive, most men will find themselves a woman's option as opposed to her priority at some point in their lives. It is what it is. Unfortunately, men are often complicit in the decision to relegate them to an option role. The most common way that they do this is by over-pursuing and over-committing.
I definitely say that a lot of dudes, I think the problem is that they get so little attention from women that when they finally get some, they jump at it, right? They just go right, you know what I'm saying? They just go right to it, right? The problem, right? The guy who used to talk to women, used to hang around with this man, attention, like regular, like cordial and sexual attention. He not gonna be tripping on her, but he gonna be like, he gonna be nonchalant about it. I don't mean nonchalant like niggas trying to work. First, the guy who's just, you know what I'm saying, left in the dark about women, and then that nigga gets some bit of attention, he jumps on her. That's how you get guys who are super clingy, right? They fall in love very quickly and very hard.
As I've stated previously, the fundamental law of attraction is that people want what they want, not what wants them. I'll say it again. People want what they want, not what wants them.
Man's been.
And a corollary to this law is that you cannot get someone to want you more by wanting them more.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get them to want you more by wanting them less, but you absolutely can't get them to want you more by wanting them more. I'm going to try to explain this today in a way that's going to make more sense to you guys by approaching the same concept in the domain of business. Because if it works in business, it tends to work with women. What we're talking about here is negotiation. As I discuss in my book, all relationships, whether they're for a night or for the rest of your life, progress through three distinct phases: attraction, negotiation, and maintenance. All relationships are negotiated. This is unavoidable. And if you fumble the negotiation, then you don't get any coffee. Coffee, as we know, being for closers. So how do over-pursuing and over-committing look in practice? Well, imagine you're in the market for work and that you've applied to 2 jobs. After you've interviewed both, the first one calls you up and says, "Great news! We absolutely love you. In fact, you're..."
That's all the options. Like, that's how you gotta apply for a lot of jobs. Then, you know, and see who calls you back, see who hits you back, all that thing. Who's willing to communicate or further, you know, explaining. That's not true. Further communication with you, right? You want to make sure that happens. And then you start to call in and, you know, narrow down your options. Don't ever commit exclusively to one thing, because that's how you block yourself off. That's why I say don't align super strong with one side or an ideology. That way, when you do that, you close yourself off from everything.
The best applicant we've ever seen at this company. We are ready to hire you without conditions today. Actually, we already have your corner office ready to go. You can start whenever you want. Today, tomorrow, in a year. No worries. Take all the time you need.
Fishing, that sounds too good to be true.
We're just here to tell you that no matter when, no matter what, there's a place for you here at Bigger Corp. for applying. That said, there are still several applicants that we're interested in interviewing, as this is a fairly competitive position. We'll inform you of our decision at the appropriate time. Don't call us, we'll call you. All the best. What do you think you're going to do?
Wait, don't immediately rush. The other job, the first job, they essentially said, we want you, we need you, etc., etc., etc. To me, no competition, always open, always available. That must mean it's not super sought after, right? That means the payment could be low, the quality of the service could be off, you know what I'm saying? They seem too open on, right? Especially if this is just an average week. The second one, they must have something better work, comp benefits, better wages, etc., etc., etc. So, what I would do is I would hold off on the first one, right? You're not eliminating it, you're just holding it off because it's a strong safety net. They're always going to be. They said start today, tomorrow, next week, next month, whatever. So that's always an option. Versus the first one, I mean the second one, which is like, okay, I may get this one, which is most likely higher paying than this first one. So I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna make a week, keep pushing, do what I'm doing, and if the second one hits with that, we can go for that.
Well, since the first option has functionally assured that you have a guaranteed position and that you can begin whenever you want, there is absolutely no reason not to wait to hear back from the second company. There is no risk or opportunity cost.
They would say you could be here whenever you want. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, this nigga not going, these niggas ain't going nowhere, bro.
To keeping Beta Corp waiting. And Beta Corp, of course, did this to itself by over-pursuing and over-committing. Maybe the second company rejects you, no deal, you've already secured employment elsewhere, and maybe the second company offers you a more compelling compensation package, in which case, it was good that you exercised patience. There is no downside and considerable upside to keeping Beta Corp waiting. If you appreciate the insights,
He definitely split, bro. I might have to get tapped in. I'll be watching my dog, I'll watch my dog Berta watching this shit, you know, so shout out Berta, where you at and all that, bro. Yeah, man, this nigga spitting.
now let's continue this line of reasoning even further. Even if the second company rejects your offer, there is still no reason to go with Beta Corp, with two exceptions, which I'll discuss momentarily. Again, you have a guaranteed position that you can start at any time. So if Plan B doesn't work out, then why not pursue Plan C, or Plan D, or Plan E, or Plan F, or Plan G? You understand what I'm saying? Why not try to secure something better at no cost, no downside, and potentially unlimited upside? In fact, the only reason not to do this, first of the two exceptions, is that you're running out of money. That would be the only real reason to accept Beta Corp's unconditional offer. And
That's Beta Corp, they're always going to be there, right? I say the equivalent of this, if we're talking about relationships, is that nice guy who kind of, you know, let's say this is the girl's perspective, right? You know, it's a nice guy, have a crush on you, he likes you, he's showing signs, right? You know that he's most likely to be a girl. You don't see him talking to other girls, he just wants to hang around you, he orbits around you, right? So you know this is not going nowhere. But there's a guy, you know, your class who you are, you know what I'm saying, seeking out, right? And you see him talking to a lot of girls, so you're going to try to throw your hat in the ring to get him, right? Because it's more competitive, right? This guy has something other girls want. He has more to offer, most likely, versus the guy who just constantly orbits around you, right? This is also the reason why girls like guys who get a lot of attention from girls, right? Not because a lot of girls cheated on, because when a guy is highly sought after, girls are gonna think, what does this dude have going on to get this much attention from women? And then they're gonna be interested in him, or at least be more likely to be interested in him, and thus pursue him. This is the same reason why during school lunch, and there's two options, orange chicken and burger, and everybody gets orange chicken, you're more likely to get the orange chicken. You wanna know why? Because that's equal, that's credibility, that's this thing is sought after or at least chosen by a lot of people. So it has to have something of value, or at least in comparison or relativity to this other option or options, right?
Would probably accept that offer, not with gratitude or enthusiasm, but with a kind of bitter resignation that all of your attempts to find something better had failed.
Yeah, they failed. It's kind of like how, I might make this a thumbnail. And I might have to do saying like level up push like something stupid. But yeah, man, definitely. It is important to level up to grow. Because this is the reason why some girls will settle for a guy that they're not that attracted to. That they're not really feeling like that. But they settle for it because they don't have any other option. Right? The other option they either got settled with, they didn't work out with them, or the other options that you're pursuing just didn't want you back. Right? Which is why it's important not to make yourself always ultra available. At bare minimum, at least not in the early talking. If you're a husband and wife, obviously you need to be available for that official partnership, and you're most likely a couple of years down the road to get into it. However, when you're in the initial stages, this is why I don't be going crazy about if you're in the talking stage and she's talking to other guys and she's texting other and you're texting other girls. If y'all are both texting other people, then y'all don't have the right to be mad at the other person, right? Because it's the talking stage, you're feeling each other out. The equivalent of a girl being in the talking stage is the equivalent of you applying for jobs. You are seeking out options, you're testing the water, but that doesn't mean you're submerged, right? You're in the boat, you're rowing it, but you haven't gotten wet yet. That's a comparison I would make. Because she's technically not cheating yet, because y'all not an official relationship, right? Y'all haven't gone on a date, y'all haven't really started coming to the day, y'all not really locked in, right? It's only when you get locked in that then any type of conversion or entertainment or option is cheating.
After all, if the offer was sufficiently attractive, then it would have been accepted right away. You would need the job at this point, but it's an ugly truth about humans that they tend to treat what they want much better than what they need.
Definitely.
Of course.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You need clothes, but Goodwill clothes are subdued. They do all old, just regular old New Balance shoes. Reebok, they would do good, right? Some regular cargo pants, some shorts, they do good, right? But people want to buy stuff that they don't need. Why do you think Jordans are so popular? Because they look cool. Do you need Jordans? No. Are they a requirement for survival? No. But people want them, right? What you want, you're going to pursue what you want versus way more than what you need until your wants are satisfied. Or your needs just become so unavailable, so unequivocally important that you have to attend them, right? It's like how people will have decent money in their account to go out partying, but the moment their rent is unpaid or they have an unexpected expense, they're like, I need to chill out on all this fun stuff that I don't need to do so I can attend to the stuff that I actually need to do.
They might be overjoyed that you decided to join their ranks in no small part because it never realizes how it was complicit in transforming itself into an option. Men do this all the time in the sexual marketplace. They make themselves too available. Would you like to go out on Monday? I'm busy Monday. Well, how about Tuesday? I'm busy.
If you attempt to ask a girl and she says, no, I'm busy, and she doesn't attempt to reschedule, she's probably busy. Because if she was really feeling you, she'd be like, oh, I'm busy, but we can go out this day, that would work. Okay, but I'd say this, if you feel like you're putting all the work in the conversations, putting all the work into talking to this girl, it feels like you're doing 90% more.
and I'm willing to demonstrate that interest with exceptional gestures that indicate my desire. And men commit past the point of decision. This one's really important. All right, if you ever change your mind, just let me know. I'd be happy to take you out if and when your circumstances change.
You say we can't go on, like, oh, have a good day. Keep pushing. I'm not about to wait on you. Like, if I get hit with a baby, like, if I get hit with a baby, nigga, I'm just gonna assume that's a no. Keep pushing. Right?
When men behave like this, they transform themselves into options, and they do this by communicating that they are willing to prioritize a given woman over all of her competition before she's even shown up to work. I understand that this approach makes a kind of rational sense. The men who do this think that the woman in question will be flattered or persuaded by their exceptional interest. However, these men fail to appreciate the fundamental law of attraction and believe that it can increase a woman's interest by showing her more interest. That's a negative, Charlie. Successful negotiators know that irrespective of...
Hey guys, this is Senator.
No, this is dude spit. He's being real stuff. I ain't gonna lie. Get this ad out the way. Continue the video.
of the attractiveness of the offer, they have to act like the second company. They have to interview other applicants. They can't show all their
Yeah,
cards.
if you're in the talking stage, I'm not opposing talking. I'm not opposing it. If you're in the talking stage, you're feeling each other out. Y'all are not official, right? If you start talking to her, don't rush to cut off all your other options immediately. Oh, shit. She shows that she's cool, and that y'all actually got something deep going on. And that's cool. Cut your other options. Like, if she reciprocates energy, she's not gonna have options. Especially if y'all just talking about having official.
And they've got to put on a poker face. This is really important. Most hands in poker are bullshit. But every once in a while, you get pocket aces. When you get a good hand, you can't start jumping up and down in your chair and pumping your fists. That might...
You gotta be nonchalant, you gotta be chill with it. That's why we told you to meditate. You meditate, you gain greater emotional stability and control. It's like you gain better lock on your emotions. That's how you stay cool, level-headed. You don't get too excited, you don't get sad, you don't get super angry. You just chill. Being chill and relaxed is the most easily manageable state. Because all these other states like extreme happiness, anger, lust, they absorb a massive amount of energy or require it. Being relaxed don't require no real energy.
jeopardize your ultimate goal. If you want to win that pot, you have to put on your best poker face and sit with your emotions. And this leads us to the second general exception to the scenario previously described. That is the second reason why an applicant might accept the offer from Beta Corp right away. If the applicant wasn't running out of money, the only other reason to accept Beta Corp's offer would be if Beta Corp were that applicant's dream job, and she had already decided that Beta Corp is the highest she can aspire to, and that Beta Corp was the best that she could do. And spoiler alert, that's probably not the case. And it's easy to understand why. It's probably not the case because the applicant would almost certainly have shown more interest and enthusiasm in the application process, which in turn would have signaled to Beta Corp that it didn't have to promise the moon in order to secure commitment. Remember, nobody pays more than they need to for a specific good. So the sheer fact that Beta Corp over-pursued and over-committed functionally guarantees that the applicant in question wasn't showing much interest in the position. It's been said that in life, we don't get what we deserve, we get what we negotiate. I agree with this, and there are some uncomfortable realities when it comes to success in the negotiation process. Here's one of them. Whichever party is more eager to close and less willing to walk has less power in the negotiation
about this. You know what I'm saying? All the cold hard cams, the Vaughn 2 cuts, all the psych hacks, all this home math. Like, you can watch all these dudes, man, who go really in depth about this stuff. Not even good if you don't know how to apply it, when to apply it, and actually know how to do it. Because this stuff takes experience. It takes effort. In the same way that you can watch all the football film of the man, but if you never practice on the field, you're gonna get booked. This is the same thing. You watch all these videos, like you never put up shots, you gonna miss, man.
But there's
And
a
even if you do put up shots, you do like air ball, brick, all that.
point in securing an attractive option on unfavorable terms. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know.
Definitely fits, bro. I know. I'm definitely nigga have to lock in, bro. Nigga have to study the sauce, the science behind the sauce. But that was a really good video. I'm already sucked up. That's my boy Sarcasm, man. Shout out to him. But with that being said, it's your boy Jay. Stay healthy.